Hey everybody, welcome back to Prince's Friend Exploring Music Through Prince. I had this fun idea. I don't even know why it came to my mind, but I had this idea that I was going to come on January 15th and I was going to do a live stream at 1:15. I I believe I'm more clever than I actually am, but I thought that I was going to come on and do this, but really for days I've been like, well, I could talk about this, I could talk about that, I could just make it a regular Q&A. What am I going to discuss in a live stream on a Saturday at 1:15 on January 15th? And then the news came out last night, and I was pretty excited about the news, but also, I don't know, a little dumbfounded because it just seemed like. Anyway, we'll get into it in a second here. Hello to everybody who's showing up. But essentially, today is going to be a news edition. Can you tell that I'm like super proud of my little intros and stuff that I come up with? Hey, it's work. It's work to get those things together. So anytime I get a chance to use it, I'm going to use it. And I've even also seen a few other channels also discussing this. So I haven't gone and watched those yet, but I probably will after we do this. Because there's a few other Prince related channels. Nightchild, I think, just put up a thing about it earlier today. I noticed that right as I was setting mine up. But there at the end, that's what it is. So what we are going to do is I honestly just read the headline, and I haven't actually gone through and read the article because I want to see what it says. But I was like, hey, we can do that together. And anything that you guys maybe come up with while we're reading it, let me know. Otherwise, hey to Alcy, Yolonzo, Chris, Marcos. I don't think I've seen you in here before, Marcos. Good to know. Okay, cool. All right. Well then, we will go ahead and go through the thing here. Let's see here. But yes, hello to everybody. We're at about 40 people. I think that's good. I wanted to give everybody just a chance to kind of pump in here. So it says, where's my button here? There it is. So as a nearly 6-year probate case winds down, the process of redistributing the star musician's wealth could begin in February. I'm like, okay. So the final valuation of the estate of Prince, seen here before at the 2000. Oh, there's referencing the picture. Okay, yes, that's from Super Bowl, which is pretty cool. Actually, we have a video coming for Super Bowl. Yeah, it should be cool. So it says after 6 years of legal wrangling, parties to Prince's estate have finally agreed that the final amount is $156.4 million. That's far more than $82.3 million appraisal by the estate's administrator, Comerica, but it's less than the tax collector's assessment since the IRS in 2020 had valued it at 163.2. So those are both numbers that I had heard, but I had also heard like 200 million. I had heard 300 million. Like it was I had heard a lot of different numbers, and they all were kind of bigger than this one. And yet this is the number that we have. So I mean, there you go. 156. It just seems really weird. And Marcos has said a couple of times already in the chat that or you said it once, you said that real estate alone is a big deal, and I kind of agree with that. Because I mean, there's one thing that there is only a finite amount of, and that's land. Until we start building our own islands and stuff like that. But with an agreement between Comerica and IRS, with the okay of the Prince's heirs, the process of distributing the star's wealth could begin in as early as February. It's been a long 6 years, says Londell McMillan. And then it just kind of goes. So since then, a phalanx of lawyers and consultants have been paid tens of millions of dollars to administer his estate, and come up with a plan for its distribution. 2 of the 6 siblings have since passed away. 2 others are in their 80s. So there's that as well. In the end, the estate will be almost evenly divided between a well-funded New York company, Primary Wave, which is kind of interesting, and the 3 oldest of the music icons' 6 heirs of their families. Because that actually is a thing. The Taika and one other one, I believe, sold the majority of their shares. I don't believe that they sold the whole thing, but they sold the majority of their shares. So I think that that's actually a huge deal, that now Primary Wave now has a huge stake in this. And I had done a video about that not too long ago where I was discussing, like, is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing? And I'm of 2 minds. One, it could be a good thing because they know how to administer these sorts of things. It gives the estate a voice that's not just, hey, I'm related to Prince, and more that I know what I'm talking about when it comes to administering these estates, song catalogs and stuff for estates. So there's that. And yeah, so it was Taika sold 90%. Thank you, Nightchild. Yeah, I was pretty sure she didn't sell all of it, because that would be silly to sell every single bit. But I did know that she sold most of it. And I believe Omar, that was before he, yes, it definitely happened there as well. So I did a whole video about it before. So there's that, right? So, but here's the thing, though, is I know that there was a lot of quibbling about the taxes that they would need to pay on the estate. So I know that 200 and that 3,000, I'm sorry, that 200 million, those 300 millions, I knew that number was going to come down. I was thinking it would probably be in the 180 to 200 range. It's not far off at 156, but that was what I was thinking. I was thinking Paisley Park alone, the vault, there's so much that's there for them to. Let me get it off these chinos. So many ads on these things. And it's like, I'm not doing an ad for chinos here. So yeah, where was I now? So anyway, yeah, so the there's a lot already there, and it's not even just the value of what has already been released and what exists, but also the value of those things that would be released later on. Because, there's lots and lots of music. There's lots of it. So, okay, so we have the IRS and Comerica settled last spring on the real estate portion of Prince's estate, but the trickier task was valuing intangible assets. I was just saying that, and it's obviously they're talking about that now. Such as the rights to Prince's music was not completed until October. So the value of that settlement is $156.4 million, disclosed on Friday in a filing in Carver County Probate Court. So yeah, there you go. As part of that, the IRS dropped the $6.4 million accuracy-related penalty, which good, and it would have been probably higher. And the Minnesota Department of Revenue, which agreed on the estate's valuation, also had jettisoned an accuracy penalty. So I think now that they've come to terms with how much it is, they're like, okay, like, you were saying that it was this much, I was saying it was this much. They've agreed, and they're like, we'll just drop everything, so that, because if they kept those levies on them and those penalties and whatnot, that's gonna complicate everything. And then tax collectors will take a bite out of Prince's fortune. That will run into the tens of millions, which isn't too bad considering. A bit more than 5 million of Prince's estate will be exempted from taxes. But thereafter, the tax rate is 40%. In Minnesota, the first 3 million is tax exempt. And yeah, there you go. Yeah, I mean, there are definitely states where that wouldn't be as high. That's why people incorporate, or they have land, or they have a house where they keep as their primary residence in certain states, so that they can get even lower tax rates and stuff like that. It is what it is. Let me see. In mid 2020, Comerica sued the IRS, saying the agency's calculations of the estate's value were riddled with errors. A tax trial set for March in St. Paul has been canceled because they've settled. So there you go. Comerica, in a court filing Friday, said that while the IRS settlement was fair and reasonable, it believes that it would have prevailed in court, which, I mean, that's just them trying to, they're fronting, they're trying to like look big, they're like, we went ahead and canceled it, but we would have won, just let you know. That's like that kid who's like, oh, you want to go outside and fight me, and then like everybody's like, shut up, stop fighting. Yeah, but if we would have fought, I would have won that fight. If we would have fought. It's kind of crazy. So let's see. Instead, the members of the Heir group have uniformly communicated to Comerica the strong desire that the estate settle with the taxing authorities, the filing said, which that makes sense a lot as well. That they're like, look, we don't want all of this. And us as the friends, we're all out here. We don't want there to be tons of settlements and cases and filing, but just settle it all so that we can just get to the music. That's really what we're for. I mean, me, I don't want to speak for everybody, but I know a lot of us are like, can we just be done with all of the legal stuff? Can we just settle this so that we can just get on with business? Because without having an actual valuation, then it's hard for them to make predictions, and then it's hard for them to, like, business is hard. I say this having about, how many businesses? I have like 4 businesses. Business is hard. And not having accurate data to run your business off of is hard to do. So yes, oh my gosh. Primary Wave bought out most of the interest of the 3 youngest siblings, including Jackson, who died in August 2019. 3 older siblings, including John Nelson, who died in September, rejected offers from Primary Wave, which I do like. Okay, so I said that like it's good to have Primary Wave like at the table, but I'm actually happy that like they don't have everything, because I wouldn't say that they should have everything. I just think that it should be kind of there should be multiple parties involved. I know that also throws a wrench in some, how much it's gonna kind of just flow nicely, but the 3 older siblings last year transferred. What was that website? Transferred an undisclosed proportion of their stakes to Macmillan and Charles Spicer, who have represented them in the estate proceedings. Macmillan is a veteran entertainment lawyer who Prince also used for several years. Spicer is a New York musician and producer. And it says, as complex as Prince's estate proceedings have been, there have been a lot more convoluted. Singer Michael Jackson died in 2009. I knew that, I don't know how I knew, but I knew that they were going to bring up Michael Jackson somewhere in this. The same way as earlier in the article, and I skipped it, but they're like, by the way, he died of it's like, just talk about the thing that we're here to talk about. Actually, this last part, kind of skimming ahead, it kind of does make sense that you're like, okay, cool, maybe it makes sense for them to mention him, but like, it's always a Prince versus Michael thing. It's always a, let's talk about, the scandal of how it's like, there are more important things, people. So it says, since he died in 2009, 7 years later, his estate administered a value of his wealth at $7 million. The IRS weighed in at $1.1 billion before eventually dropping its appraisal to $482 million. Okay. So last spring, a U.S. court judge finally settled the matter, valuing Prince's estate at $111 million. So actually, that makes sense. That makes sense as to what I was like, because like I said before, they were talking $200-300 million, and then they settled at 156. And in here, they're like, no, we're talking, $1 billion, or probably 482. Yeah, no, it's 111. So I think that that's interesting. Honestly, I think that that's kind of interesting, just seeing that that's valued at 111 million, and Prince's estate is valued at 156 million. I'd actually like to see the numbers and the comparisons there. I would have just assumed that Michael Jackson's estate was worth more. So that's very, very interesting. So anyway, that is the article. For me, I think it probably should have been higher. The valuation, again, not just like the article said, those intangible things of like, unlike a lot of other artists, you're going to be able to keep selling Prince music. Like and you're not just going to have to try and repackage the same stuff over and over again, even though they're doing that too. But like, there's so much music in the vault that they could really just keep selling Prince music. So it's almost endless in the amount of money that it could produce over time. So it makes sense, I think, in that respect, that maybe there's more. Not that Michael Jackson, for instance, in this article, doesn't also have a vault of music, but we've also seen how that estate is not necessarily releasing it with the care, or even treating the music with care. I'm not even going to get into all of the scandal involved with Michael Jackson things, but in terms of Prince, I'm happy that we finally have a number. I think that's the big thing. I think regardless of what the number is, it's good to have one, because now we can move on and we can get the music out. So I think that that's super duper important. Obviously, you guys have been chiming in the chat. So I'm going to move over there. I'm going to kind of respond to some of the stuff that you guys have been saying over here, and we'll see if you guys agree, if you guys disagree. Let's see what's happening here. Let's see what is happening here. Happy New Year to you, Marcos. Let's see. So yeah, it will be interesting to see if Primary Wave eventually get full control. It's a good note. I don't know if they're going to get full control, because they've been told no. I guess if they make, it's weird, right? Because I think it depends on what they were offering, and it was an easy out for some of the heirs that didn't necessarily want to be as involved as they were, especially fighting with Comerica. They're just like, you know what? Who knows when this is going to get settled? Let me just get out. At the same time, there were the other siblings who were like, no, I'm going to stay in because I believe in this. And I don't know their real reasonings, but, from the outside perspective, they're like, no, I don't want to do that. I don't want to sell to somebody who is going to treat it like it's just a thing. At the same time, I don't know. I still stand by the idea that Primary Wave will be a benefit in the end, but I wouldn't want them to control everything. I don't know. That's just me, because Primary Wave is not a person. If it's a person, then you can be like, hey, that person is making bad decisions. If it's a business, a corporation, an LLC, or a corporate, whatever, an S corp. If it's this bodiless entity, then there is no one to point to. Like, everybody's just like, oh, well, fights with Sony and fight with Warner Brothers. It's just like, those are companies. Like, you can't have a fight with a company. You're having a fight with the lawyers and the higher ups and the corporates and the executives, and you're having a fight with those people who are members of the company. But like, the company it's not really a thing. I'm not in the belief that businesses are people. So the idea that Primary Wave owns a lot of Prince's catalog is, again, I wouldn't want them to own the whole thing. That's all I'm saying. So let's see. Marcos, Prince owns a lot of the land around Paisley Park. Right. And that's what I was saying. Like, I know probably a lot of that evaluation is the land and Paisley Park and all of that stuff, as opposed to, but like Michael, his final evaluation, probably a lot of that was Neverland, except that then I'm pretty sure they sold Neverland. So that might be why it's as low as it is. That 111 million might just be all the assets besides Neverland. Again, I need to see a side-by-side comparison, because that number sounds super low. um, super low. Hoosier says, this is really good news. Shouldn't this make us happy, because this means Paisley will get maintained regularly, tours can continue, and more releases and special events. Yes and no. I don't necessarily believe that any of the stuff that was happening here was having a heavy influence on the day-to-day operation of Paisley Park. Paisley Park getting regularly maintained, yes. But it, as far as, no, that's right, because it got, whatever sub company is taking it over, because I know it got rolled back into the estate, but I doubt that the estate is 100% doing everything that they're supposed to do. But, tours can continue, more releases and special events. They've been starting to trickle those back in. But I think a lot of that is not because of legal stuff, and that's more because of, global pandemics and whatnot. So there you go. Let's see. So glad to see you back on. Thank you, JB. I appreciate it. I've had very little time to sit and edit videos and do a bunch of stuff. So I was like, let's just come on and do a live stream, because those are always fun. Let me see. Well, they can build back the money, get the music out there, and do other stuff to keep his legacy alive and well. Well, yeah. And that's the goal here, is we want everything to be running well, so that we can just start getting the music out. And if the release of Welcome to America is any indication, I mean, I would love if they just continue doing this. Prince's estate understated the wealth of his estate, just as Michael Jackson's did with the IRS a few years ago. Hey, well, I mean, we found that out at the end of the article, so that makes a lot of sense. Let's see. Let's be honest. Prince's estate is worth way more than that. Yeah, I mean, kinda. Yeah, kinda. To be honest, this is from Steven, this is a good thing. IRS would be taking more plus legal fees. Yes, exactly. And and making the settlement, they were able to drop a lot of the fees and the stuff like that. So that's, maybe it is worth more, but in order to not have to, because if you say that it's worth 180 and then you're like, cool, now I'm going to tax you for 25 million, then it's basically worth 156 million after that. So you might as well go with the lower, and that wasn't even taxing, that was just like fees. So you might as well go with the lower valuation, so that you're not having to then, throw, 10, 15 million right off the top just for fees like that. Cause that's the thing. So I understand, this might have been a strategic move, and not necessarily that this is the real valuation. This is the valuation that you are okay with, and that you'll move, let's just move forward. That's what it seems like for me. Hopefully the music will just grow and grow. 100%, sir. Hopefully. Yeah, that's what I'm here for. Prince has enough music. This is from Love's Friends. Prince has enough music to make an album for at least 100 years at least. I wish they stated the valuation of the vault. I wish they stated the valuation of anything. We just have a number here. There's no breakdown in this article, which it would be cool if there was. I would love to hear what the breakdown is, and then I would compare it to the Michael Jackson breakdown, because I'm very interested now that article mentioned it. And I want to know all of I want to see the James Brown. I want to see his. I want to see all the different musician estates and how they valued stuff, because I'm just so curious. Sounds like they are skimming off the top. Goes to show you can't own anything in this country. They are skimming off the top, but everybody's going to skim off the top. They would skim off the top regardless of the valuation. So, I mean, that's just what that is. I don't know. Let's see here. Hopefully. That's funny. Lynn said, hopefully he would have remarried a third time, and then this would have all kind of gotten it. Yeah. I assume that you're talking about the marriage in relation to this, because then it wouldn't have mattered if there was a will or not, because it would have just gone to his next of kin. And and if he was married, it would have just gone to his wife. So I guess, I mean, that's, I guess, what it is. Filing for 4 businesses, bless your heart. Yeah, it's not easy. Um, let's see. Adore Cream says, "Hi, Michelle. Yes, they bring up Michael as it's lazy journalism who lump Prince and Michael as they were the 2 most successful Black musicians and died in similar fashion." Exactly. And but I mean, but even before, even without discussing how they passed away, it's just like it's always Prince versus Michael. And I've done a couple of Prince versus Michael videos on this channel because they get clicks and because it is sometimes an interesting conversation to have. So I'm not going to balk at the entire idea of comparing the 2 of them, but this article has nothing to do with Michael Jackson. This is where, that's what I'm saying. Like, there's no reason to compare them here. It just doesn't make any sense. Yeah. Let me see. Steven M says, "I'd like to hear the 5 songs Prince said was better than Purple Rain." I could name a bunch of songs that are better than Purple Rain personally. I mean, and you, I know you might be talking about ones that are in the vault, but I'm not like, there are songs that are released that are better than Purple Rain. That is an amazing song. There are better songs that he's done though. I don't know. That's weird. That's my thought on it, but I know there will be people, and Rabbit 80's Prince fan, he would be like, "No, Purple Rain is number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, and number 5. They ain't no better song than Purple Rain, unless you're talking about the Purple Rain live or Purple Rain remix. But those aren't better than Purple Rain." I gotta do another Rabbit 80's Prince fan soon. I miss doing that. That wig is very itchy though. It's interesting to see how many artists are selling their catalogs. I wonder what the bigger discussion is behind all that. Well, I think right now it's harder to make money by making music nowadays. And what ends up happening is that when you own your own catalog and stuff, then it's kind of up to you to make sure that everything is administered right and goes through. And I saw like Bob Dylan and his estate, like I think sold just recently, like, so and I agree, like there's a bunch of artists that their catalogs are being sold like in the last year. And I think it matters that a lot of those musicians and artists are older. And they're like, "Look, I probably don't even have that much longer to go. Let me just sell this. Let's make a few $100 million from selling it, and then let me have a great rest of my life without having to worry about how my music is distributed. Like, just sell it and let them deal with it," which is also fair. Like, if I had enough money to just throw at something and it would just take care of itself, I mean, I maybe might do that as well. I'm very hands-on though with most things that I do. I'm like, no, I must control every strand because I am creating a web of power. I don't know. Let's see. Laura. Hey Laura, by the way. What we want is a low valuation so the estate pays fewer taxes, correct? So perhaps MJ had better lawyers. I mean, it might be, and you're right. We do want to lower so that we pay lower taxes, so we keep more of the money. But I mean, honestly, because it's not like it's 40% across the board or anything like that. It's what's the word? It's not staggered, but it's incremental tax rates. So lower is good, but also lower, like I said, is better because it's better to just agree to it so that you can avoid the fees, not the taxes, because they're still going to pay taxes on whatever amount that they agree to, but they don't. Now there's less fees involved, less of those miscalculation fees. So yeah, there you go. Wow, it's so early there. Yeah, definitely. Well, I mean, hey, good morning to you as well. Good morning, good evening, and good night. I'll steal from the Truman Show. No, really, I came up with that myself. All right, so let's see. Let me see. So I just wonder who the folks are making, who the folks are who are making the creative choices, and how that will look going forward. Primary Wave are mostly business and money folks. No. Yes, I believe that you're correct. They kind of buy up catalogs and then usually like, license them out and like, make sure they're administrating them. So it would be interesting to see who. I assume that the personnel running the Prince estate is not necessarily going to change that much. It's going to be pretty much the same people. So the people who have been making the creative decisions are probably going to be making the creative decisions going forward. Obviously, in 2021, that was when it got rolled over from Warner Brothers to Sony, which was why we kind of stopped getting Warner Brothers-esque releases, and we ended up getting Welcome to America instead. That's my own personal thought. Maybe that was the plan for forever, but I noticed that as soon as Warner Brothers, the deal with Warner Brothers, went away and it was now with Sony, I noticed that the next big release was not a Warner Brothers property. So, just saying. So, but yeah, so they're going to be involved in the process, but seeing as they weren't able to get, I don't think that they have a majority share. I'd have to do more research for that, but it doesn't sound like they have a majority share, but they do own, pretty a little bit, like half. So we'll have to see what happens. Let's see. Prince's estate are doing the best legacy posthumous releases. They are doing better than David Bowie's estate, who are starting to get lazy and exploit the fan base. Here's the thing. After Black Star, I haven't heard anything. Maybe I need to go and maybe they're not marketing to me like the way that they should. I don't know. Because I haven't heard anything. I bought Black Star and ate that crap up. The album was so good. And I would have loved to have heard something that would have come out after. All right, let me make a note to myself to look into David Bowie. I'm going to look into his posthumous releases. Let me write that down. Because honestly, you're right. Like, Prince is that they're making sure that his stuff is kind of widely out there. They're trying to get his music to be in people's faces, and they're releasing lots of new things, and not everybody's estates are doing that. So definitely good good job that they're doing, I guess I'll say. Let's see. Prince's family are originally Creole from Louisiana. I wonder if he has relatives living in Louisiana. I mean, probably. I mean, but like relatives meaning blood relatives, or relatives meaning like people who were part of his life. Like, I have a lot of cousins. I have cousins out the wazoo. How many of them are involved in my life? None. I probably have more than I even know about. So, there's always going to be somebody who's going to be like, I'm related, but like family, in my opinion, is not necessarily just who is related to you by blood, even though that technically is like the legal definition by blood or by marriage. But I mean, it is what it is. Let's see. Oh, there's a whole lot of discussion in the chat about the will. I'm not going to get into that, because whether there was a will or whether it was destroyed or anything like that, I mean, it's kind of a moot point. It's kind of like, did you arrange all of the silverware on the table? Like, yes, I did, but the meteor is still going to hit Earth. It's just like, well, it doesn't, but did you? But did you arrange the silverware? It's kind of like that. It's a dumb example, but it's kind of like trying to search for a difference without meaning. We can nitpick it all we want, but in the end, it doesn't matter whether he did have a will and it was destroyed, or he didn't have a will or it was lost or whatever. It's like, whatever. We're settling on things now. So I don't know. All right, so let's see what we got here. There are more than 8,000 songs in the vault, and it's definitely more than 100 to 150 years and albums per year. I don't know. That's the thing, I guess. They've still, and maybe I missed the articles, but I still have not seen any thing that has said like this is exactly what's in the vault. So any numbers, 8,000, we could say there's 20,000 songs. Like, is there really? Also, what we have seen from the releases is that some of these vault tracks are some are more complete than others. Some are like, bam, this is a song, this is great. And other ones are like, I can tell that this was kind of a demo that Prince was like, I'm going to put this down so that I can come back to it later and make this into a real song. And, he never did for one reason or another. But there are a few of them that I'm like, this is good. Like, it's good to hear, the behind the creative process and stuff like that. But, to say that there are that, even to say that everything in the vault is a song. I have my own personal vault of my own music, and I know that like there's probably 15% of those things that are me putzing around, and though it's unusable, but I didn't want to just throw it away. So I'm just saying, and until I see like a list of everything that's in there, then it's hard to say what's actually in there. That's my thought on it. Let's see. Didn't Prince say that Gold was better than Purple Rain? I never heard him say that. I would be interested to see if you have a link to an interview or an article or something. I know that those two songs, Gold and Purple Rain, are a lot of the time compared to each other. And I know that I personally prefer Gold, but also if you kind of pick them apart from like a musical standpoint, from the creation standpoint, like I think Purple Rain has more impact, but then there's Gold though that is just, it's beautiful on a different level. So there's reasons why those two songs are compared, but I have never heard that Prince said anything specifically about those two songs. But again, I could be wrong. Does it? I don't hear everything, so I don't know everything. So let's see. Prince versus Michael is like Stones versus the Beatles. That's kind of true, and honestly, that's very very good. And I remember because I'm a Beatles fan and I don't like the Rolling Stones, but I'll still sing along to Brown Sugar and Give Me Shelter and the Devil song. What is it called? Compliments of the Devil, Sentiments of the Devil. Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah, it's weird, right? Because I can be like, I don't even like the Rolling Stones, but I'll sing along to Satisfaction. I'll sing along to a bunch of different songs, but I really do. I prefer the Beatles, and I like both actually in the end. But I do prefer the Beatles, and that's everybody has their own preference, and people are always just like, well, why are you talking about Michael on a Prince station? And I'm like, well, I talk about Madonna and Fiona Apple and Smashing Pumpkins. I talk about everybody on my channel. I don't care, because Prince was about music. So I'll talk about Prince, but then I'll also sometimes talk about music in general, because Prince wasn't like, you must only listen to my music and that is the ending statement of Prince. And it's just like, no, because he listened to other stuff, and he was also about you going out and making your own music. So like all of these things, like, no, you can't, because I've also talked to people like that here, where people will be like, I only listen to Prince, and I'll be like, well, maybe you should check out this band, because there is a lot of music out there, and I think even Prince doesn't want you to only listen to Prince, because he didn't listen to only Prince. I will say that. There is also, and then I'll go back to the comments. There's this thing that Prince used to say, is that when people would ask him, like, what are you listening to? He'd be like, I don't really listen to the radio. I don't really listen to other things because I don't want it to influence my music. And I hear that, oh my gosh, as a musician and making music, when I am in creative mode, I usually don't listen to anything other than the stuff that I am creating in that moment because I don't want it to get influenced. So I understand that. But you also have to take a break from that and you have to listen to some other things. It's kind of like as a writer, you become a better writer by reading. You become a better musician by listening. And these things are definitely, definitely true. So yeah, there you go. Let's go back to some of these. And if you're mentioning Michael Jackson, I'm probably skipping it because I'm done. I'm done talking about Michael Jackson. Question of You is an underrated gem from his catalog. I'd agree with that. I think that's good. I need to know more David Bowie stuff. It's interesting. It depends on where your musical stylings are. Like I listen to most Bowie that I listen to is like from what is it called? Humans? I think it's Humans and forward. Now I'm gonna have to check. Hold on. I thought it was called Humans, but now I'm second guessing myself. Earthling. So I usually listen to stuff from like Earthling and after. But occasionally I'll dip into some Ziggy Stardust. Mostly I got into Ziggy Stardust because I would play it a lot on Rock Band and Guitar Hero back in the day, and I'd be like, these songs are dope. And so yeah, so anyway, David Bowie has some good stuff. I'm more a fan of his later stuff, but I know some people swear by his earlier stuff and his more experimental stuff. But I loved it when like he was like collaborating with Trent Reznor and stuff like that. Give me that Bowie. Let's see. Oh, really? Okay, hold on, Yolonzo. If I recall correctly, Bowie wrote a 5-year plan for them to how to handle everything as he was sick. It's been 6 years, so perhaps they're like, what do we do now? Oh, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense, actually. If he wrote a 5-year plan and was like, what do you do? Oh, that's crazy. Oh, that's crazy. Yeah, I mean, and I guess that is the question. Now they do have to figure it out and try to stay within what they think he would want. And I've done this with Prince too. Nobody is going to do everything exactly the way that Prince would want it. It's just not possible. So it's good to be able to try to be as close as possible. And that's all anybody can do because he's not around anymore to tell you what to do. Truth Hurts. Aloy, did you say you have 4 businesses? If so, hello, I'm your cousin Adam. That's funny. I didn't say I have 4 successful businesses. But I do have 4 businesses. I have 2 publishing businesses. I also do music, and then YouTube counts as a business. All of my YouTube endeavors I count as a separate business. So I believe that's my 4 businesses. Yeah, 4. That's 4. So yeah, so good stuff though. I mean, I enjoy everything that I get to do. So I understand that like it's a blessing that I am able to do what I am able to do here. So and the fact that all of you even show up to hear me talk about random things and Prince and whatnot. And we have 108 people here, which is awesome. Most of the stream we had like 50, and I don't know what happened. Maybe it was like everybody is now like coming back from their afternoon walk. So welcome to everybody who is here. Where I'm going through the comments. If you have something you want me to hit, let me just hit it in the comments. If you want to make sure that I see it and that like my eye doesn't skip it because I'm not hitting everything, you can do a super chat. And then that will make it definitely, that pops it up real big, right in my face because YouTube's like, look, you need to pay attention to this person. Anyway, so where am I here? Alphine, I think Aloy prefers to stay in safe, non-controversial waters in regards to all of that. I feel like Peace Love Prince is more open to that conversation. You know, well, let me see. You're responding to Denise. Who's Denise? They're definitely a will. His siblings destroyed it to get all the cash. I mean, it could be. I mean, and that's the thing. It's not even about me wanting to stay non-controversial. I don't speak on things that I don't know, because throwing out a bunch of hyperbole and theories, I don't feel like that helps anything. I deal with the reality. The reality is we don't have a will, even if there is a will, even if it was destroyed, whatever. We don't have one, so we have to deal with what we have. Um, if people want to fight about other things, go for it. I'm going to deal with what's happening right now. That's my own personal way of how I deal with things. So let's see. So his friend and author, I assume you're talking about Neil Carlin, said that he actually wrote the will, placed it in a time capsule, and it was buried. Um, as far as I know, if I recall the story, is that he wrote it and that he was told that it was going in a time capsule to be buried on Paisley Park grounds. I don't know if he even said that he was like there when it happened or that he saw it happen, but he was told what the plan was. But also, Prince could have like read it and been like, I don't like this. So no, it doesn't go in the capsule. Maybe they should just dig up Paisley Park, dig up like kind of the grounds of Paisley Park and see. I would hate for them to ruin the landscaping, but I mean, I don't know. All right, so let's see. Beatles are definitely overrated. Urgh. That's definitely not true. The Beatles are really, really good. Uh, the deeper you get into their catalog, I mean, they're a particular kind of music. If you're saying like, She Loves You, yeah, 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 is overrated, I would agree with you. But they broke a lot of the conventions of music back in the day. So I would definitely not say that they overall are overrated. But I mean, they pretty much did like bubblegum pop at the beginning of their career, bubblegum pop of the time, and that is what it is. That's where they began. Everybody has to start somewhere, but where they ended was pretty damn great. So yeah, I would definitely not say that they are overrated, but that's just my opinion. Everybody has different ears, so but I will definitely make a case for them because I do love the Beatles so much. I listened to the Beatles for years, like just album after album after album, and there were a couple of ones that I was like, I could take or leave this one, but on the whole, Beatles are dope. So let's see here. I think that listening to other artists can influence you, but can also inspire you. I think that that's definitely true. What I end up doing a lot of the time is, even if I'm listening to a song, I'm not even listening necessarily for the notes that they're doing or the riffs that they're doing. A lot of the time, whenever I'm listening for arrangement. I'm listening for like, ooh, that was interesting what they just did there, where they kind of skipped a beat there and they did this and stuff like that. Like that's the sort of thing that I listen to, because I think it's important to kind of dig in and like get into the nuts and bolts of a song. Not just hey, he's hitting a G chord. Like anybody can hit a G chord, but what are they doing with that? That's what made Prince so amazing, is because half the time it wasn't what he was doing, it was how he was doing it, and that is way more important than anything. That's why there's a whole lot of people out nowadays, and it's not even that any of the music is not good. A lot of people they're like, oh, today's music sucks. It's not that it's bad, because they're still doing the same chord patterns, and they're using same instrument. I mean, the music is the same, but it's what they're doing with it. And today in our music, there's a lot of tried and true things that work. So then everybody are going to use the music in this particular way. It gets more people to listen to it and sells more albums and it makes them more money. But if you don't go in that direction and you take it in a different direction, then people will be like, what are you doing? That's not what everybody else is doing. That's where Prince was. So yeah, and that's where I try to be. Personally, making music, I try to be in that same vein. And yeah, I mean, you don't want to sound like everybody else, or maybe you do. I mean, and if you do, have a fun time. So let's see. So I hope next at some point they reissue some of the Protege albums, at least on streaming. So here's the thing about the here's the thing about the Protege albums, and I don't know this. This is just me guessing. This is me going off the cuff here. But the Protege albums aren't Prince albums. So they don't, like, they're not Prince. They are The Time. They are Sheila E. They are whoever the name the family, right? So even if Prince wrote the songs, and a lot of the time he wrote them under pseudonyms, if the name Prince isn't on it, I don't believe that it is included in the Prince estate. So I'm pretty sure all those Protege albums that Prince like got them their own deals, but then just used it to kind of launch his other music projects and the other things that he wanted to do. Pretty sure that like Warner Brothers still owns all of The Time. They own the family. They own those things. They own those albums, as well as, you know, Morris Day, because he obviously signed a deal with Warner Brothers after the fact. So that's going to be up to Warner Brothers. But then the question becomes, is there enough interest in those Protege albums for them to do a huge reissue? And that's going to be that's going to be a different conversation. I know that just recently, I think that they said that they were going to be doing a Time reissue, because I saw it on social media where the Morris Day on his Facebook was just like, hey, they're going to be doing like a reissue of these Time albums, and they didn't even call us. And then there was like a post like a few hours later saying, hey, everybody, thank you for like pointing to the fact that that was kind of wrong and shady, and they have called us now, so maybe we'll get something in the future. So I think that that's going to be pretty fun. So I think there is something for The Time coming, but don't quote me. There are no dates or anything like that. All I know is that there are the talks, because I follow Morris Day on Facebook. That's literally the only reason I know that. So it could be that the Time stuff is coming out. But again, are we as the Prince friends, are we going to show up enough for it to be a huge deal and a huge thing that will then make it so that, well, maybe we'll do Sheila E's next, or maybe we'll do the family now. You know, it's like, are we going to make it worth that while? And that's the weird thing about it all, is that like, I think if they did a Time reissue, and I guess it depends on how they did it, if it's just reissuing the same albums, then I'd be like, maybe I'll pick it up. I'd probably pick it up to review on the channel here, obviously. But like I've reviewed the albums, so it's just a matter of like, are they going to include anything else with it? Is it going to have like exclusive art and stuff? That could be dope. Is it going to have new songs? That could be cool. Or songs that like, I guess that's the question, right? Because any songs that didn't end up on the album are technically then part of Prince's vault, because they weren't given the name The Time. They're stuck in Prince's vault. But now that Warner Brothers has no control over that, then there would have to be some sort of deal made to get those songs that were like tagged as like Time-esque songs. Maybe they bring them over and then they like re-record them, or maybe they put them as their demo. Who knows? Or they remaster them. I would love a remaster of most of the Time albums, though, because I feel like they really need it. But in the end, it really kind of depends on what that package will be. We'll see what ends up happening. So let's see here. I love talking with you guys. It's so fun. Rock and roll fan, I've seen you before. Let's see what you got here. Did anyone see the slave trade documentary? Because I didn't like it, and Prince himself would not have approved of what they said during the documentary, and a lot of it was full of misconceptions and untruths. I actually have it like on my to watch list. Something's been making me not watch it, and I don't know why. I think it's been on my to watch list like for like the last year and a half. You know, because I'm like, currently I'm in my reviews, I'm kind of getting out of the slave era, so I kind of wanted to watch it, but I haven't watched it. I'll watch it though, and we'll talk about it. I'll watch it and we'll talk about it. But that's interesting, knowing that it may be. I haven't watched it, so I'm not going to just take everything that you say, as 100% fact. But I guess I'll watch it and see it if I agree with the misconceptions and untruths. I guess we'll see. I haven't seen it though. We'll see. A lot of people in the chat are saying it's not good. Yeah, there you go. I guess I have something bad here. Sheila E has a large following. Not sure about the others. Sheila E does have a large following. However, Sheila E, her solo albums don't necessarily have as large a market as her as a musician, as a personality and whatnot. Like, I know that her last single came out was a Lemon Cake. And I liked it. I thought it was pretty fun. But not everybody liked it. And I don't believe it got like a ton of sales, and a ton of stuff. Like, I mean, that's just what it is. And that's what the record companies are going to look at. They're going to look at how many did it sell when it came out? Are we going to be able to make our money back? Because again, it's the same thing as what I talked about before. Warner Brothers is a business. The business is looking to make money. The individual people in there might make the decision to release a thing even though they won't make money. And that would be a personal choice based, a person that would make that choice. But like Warner Brothers ain't going to do nothing unless they're going to make some money. So it's kind of like that. It's kind of like that saying, like, I hate people, but like I love like individuals. It's that sort of thing. Anyway, who would I want to see Prince play in a biopic? I don't even know. It's weird, right? Because sometimes you'll see some casting of something, you'll be like, wow, that's perfect casting. And then sometimes you'll be like, that's terrible casting. I will say Kenan Thompson. I want if anybody saw the SNL sketch, then you'll get that. I would love more Prince live concerts and behind the scenes stuff. Hope there are more gems in the vault. There definitely are, because Prince filmed everything, and we learned that if you go on the Prince tour, the Paisley Park tour, they show you some like film that like nobody's ever seen unless you do the tour, and they reveal there that Prince recorded pretty much every concert so that they could look back and be like, look over here, you didn't do the thing and that's not good. And over here, like, you see how they're amping up over here, let's do that more. Like, because he played basketball, so that's, you do the shot by shots and you go through the film to make sure that you're doing the best that you can do. And I think that that's dope. What that also tells us, though, is that there is tons of concert footage that in Paisley that he has. So it's really just going to be a matter of really getting it all together and packaging it in a fun way that people are going to want to watch those concerts. I've noticed that, so far they've released the concerts with the reissues of the albums or with new albums and whatnot. We'll see what ends up happening going forward. Would a standalone DVD sell well enough? I guess that's the question. Or DVD, Blu-ray, whatever format they want to put it in. Would it sell good enough for them to justify doing it? I think it's only going to, and obviously my case would be for them to do the January, January 21st, I think it was, show, the first show of Piano and Microphone. Freaking love that show. It's awesome. I've listened to it because I was able to get the audio, but I saw it when I was at Paisley. That's an easy sell, I think, for a lot of people. And I feel like if they marketed it the right way, as like, it was the first show of Prince's last tour, maybe it might get extra, some acclaim and get some extra eyeballs on it. Maybe that would make it worth it to do that. So I don't know. I mean, and that's basically, that's the format of this, in case anybody doesn't know the format of these live streams, is you guys ask me a question, I give you an answer, and then I say, but you mean, who knows? Because really, I can give you my educated opinion. But in the end, it's all speculation and educated guesses at this point. Uh, not to the point where I'm throwing out random hyperboles and whatnot, like I said earlier, but just it would anyway. I kind of know what I'm talking about without knowing, also, because it's not like I know the people involved who are making the decisions. Artful, I would love more live concerts. I agree. Like I said, it's just about how to market them and package them. That's going to be, I think, the trick there. So yeah, let's see. So a lot of you guys are talking about Bruno Mars, and I don't think that Bruno Mars is going to end up playing him because Bruno Mars is, I believe, not black. I did actually a whole video about that. Go look up that one. It was should Bruno Mars play Prince in a biopic? I actually even just talked about it. But my vote's still for Kenan Thompson. So let's see. Of course, produced by Jordan Peele, of course. It would have to be. So let's see. So didn't they move the entire contents of the vault to California for safekeeping while they went over the estate? They did. And they digitized everything as well. So it's not tapes and stuff anymore. That happened a while back. What was it called? Iron Mountain, I think it was. I did that video. Gosh. Yeah, that was like within the first year of his death, they had done that. And I remember like at the time I was like, I can't believe that they did this. Ah! And and like nowadays I'm like, oh, it kind of made sense. I don't know why I was so angry at the time. They kind of needed to do that because they need to be able to take stock of what's there. It would have been nice if they would have been able to take stock in Paisley and then maybe even just leave the articles there in Paisley, digitize them there and then just take the data back with you. But if that's what needs to happen, that's what needs to happen. I was more scared that like they were going to load it up on a truck and then something would happen to that truck as it's going across the country. I would just be like, no, oh, they loaded it on a plane. The plane crashed, everybody. You mean you just lost all the prints? Like that's basically where my brain was. But, I mean, I could be as scared as I want to be, but it got across the country just fine and it got digitized just fine. So that was just me being just scared out of my wits for, I guess, no reason, I guess. So let's see here. So what about Diamonds and Pearls or the Symbol album? Do you think they'll have a deluxe package of one of these albums? So my guess was that they were going to do the Diamonds and Pearls last year, actually. But they didn't. And I don't know why. I thought they were going to do the Diamonds and Pearls because it made sense because it was like on an important anniversary. So I think it could have worked really well, but it also could have worked well for any album. Like they could really do anything and, we'll go buy it. I definitely will at least. But yeah, so I mean, that's just really, I heard a whole lot of chatter last year and there was a whole lot of rumors and a whole lot of people thinking it was going to be this and it was going to be that. And then we got Welcome to America, which was amazing. And then I kept waiting for news of the next thing that was going to be coming, that big thing. Like I kept waiting for it. And yeah, and it never happened. So, I mean, maybe they're holding out. Maybe they're pushing it back to this year for a reason. Let's hope. Let's hope that there is a reason and it's not just for no reason. Yeah, I don't know. I would like to get another deluxe. Sign of the Times Deluxe was so good. I mean, and I love the deluxe sets. That's the thing. I want a deluxe set of like something that's not from like early Prince. Like I would love a Diamonds and Pearls Deluxe. That would be dope, or Love Symbol Deluxe. I would love to get something that's more MPG records and less Warner Brothers related. So like give me the lost songs from Emancipation. That's what I want. Give me like 2010 Deluxe. See, these are things that I would love. So yeah. So D'Angelo or Donald Glover, I don't think either of those to play Prince is a good plan. I think if I had to pick, I maybe might pick Miguel, possibly. But I'm also of the opinion that I would love for them to find somebody who we don't already know. Because if they pick somebody who we already know, then it's like, okay, it's Miguel playing Prince, or it's Bruno Mars playing Prince, or whoever, and it wouldn't be this person kind of becoming Prince in the moment, because we would already have presumptions and preconceived notions of the person who is supposed to be trying to embody Prince. I find that happens quite a bit in these biopics, is that if you get somebody who is already a known entity to play the other known entity, it just comes off weird. I don't know. So let's see. Wait, Kevin says, "Welcome to America isn't my favorite." Me and you are going to have words, Kevin. Kevin is he's from the Kevin brothers. I'm sorry, if anybody remembers that, it was Mario and Luigi, but their last name was Mario because they were the Mario brothers. So it was Mario and it was Luigi Mario. It's a really dumb joke, and I apologize for needing to explain it. Yeah, I'm gonna move on now. I'm gonna move on. Let's see. Kenny Crockett says, would not want to see a movie on Prince because they will tell lies. So there is a difference between a lie and an embellishment. There's a difference between a lie and like a retelling to amp up the drama. Like there's dramatization, and then there are lies. Like if they're just like, and then this was the day that Prince decided to climb to the top of Everest. Like, okay, so that is a lie, but like if anybody saw the Freddie Mercury movie, that biopic for Queen, I actually thought it was pretty well done. And it wasn't until after watching it that I found out that like he wasn't diagnosed with, AIDS until way after the concert that they had done, where they like came to, but they were writing a movie, right? They were trying to make the movie, have an impact at the end. And they were tying in the fact that he was diagnosed with AIDS and all that stuff into the story of leading up to this big concert that's one of their most iconic concerts. So it's like, is it a lie? No, because he was diagnosed with AIDS, and this concert did happen, and he did break up with his band and try and go solo, and then decided to come back. They reordered some of the events to tell a better story in the movie, but at least, we do have those fact checkers who are like, well, this is actually how that happened. But none of it was lies. It was just kind of a retelling in a weird way. So yes, Musicology Deluxe. Ooh, Musicology Deluxe would be dope. Oh. All right, I take back the other ones I suggested. I want that one. Let's see. Yeah, strange that the Diamonds and Pearls has delayed. I mean, and by delayed, it was never firmly announced, but it was well rumored that was going to be the next one. It just didn't happen. That doesn't mean it still won't happen, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. Man with the Golden Gun says 1,000 Light Years from Here is my favorite track on Welcome to America. There's a reason for that, and it's because it is the most familiar to somebody who was going into that album having heard other Prince albums. Because 1,000 Light Years Away was included on Black Muse, you're already kind of predisposed to enjoy that song. So then it kind of becomes your favorite. But if you look at it like objectively, that song's dope. But there would be probably different favorites that would pop up on there. I'm going to be doing the review of that one pretty soon here. I'm hoping. Oh my God, I'm hoping. Uh, like I said, I don't necessarily have a ton of time to record and then edit and then upload and do a bunch of stuff. That's why I'm just jumping on with a live stream here. But you know, it would be cool. It would be very, very cool if they did do that. Just give us back the most beautiful girl in the world. I did do a video on that recently, like within the last few months, I guess, updating the court case on that. So I think we will be getting it soon. Let's hope. No review yet, Aloy. I've reviewed it myself for me because I listen to it all the time because it's such a good album. But no, I haven't recorded a review. And when I do sit down to record that review, it's not going to be short. I have a lot to say about it. So that's really, it's just about finding the right time to do the review, but it will be soon, hopefully. I did record myself doing the unboxing just recently because I wasn't, so I literally bought the album, but I also bought it digitally so I could hear it. And then the package just sat here because I wasn't going to open it until I was comfortable that I had a space that I could open it and record myself opening it and doing an unboxing for you guys. So I did do that. That one should be edited soon, and then I'll be putting that one up. So we'll see. But the review, that's I gotta figure that out. I gotta figure that out. Ooh, Michelle's saying that in April there's going to be a Parade Super Deluxe. Let's see. I'm excited about all the guesses. I can't wait to see what happens when we really do figure it out. I would be overjoyed if it was a Parade one, I guess. There are way more other ones that I would want before Parade, personally. But I know everybody else likes Parade. So, you know what? If it'll make everybody else happy, I'll be happy for you guys to get your Parade Super Deluxe. Even it wouldn't necessarily be the one that I would want. Because I am the outcast in the family here, because Parade is probably one of my least favorite Prince albums compared to a lot of the other stuff that he's come up with. And of course, all of you, I will say the majority of you, it's your favorite album. And this is a common thing that happens where I have to be like, I don't really like it. I actually just was a member of a panel talking about Parade. If you go to my channel and you go to the playlists and you look under collaborations, you'll see that I did was part of a roundtable just talking about Parade and like breaking down the tracks and stuff like that. Go give them a listen, and because they're actually going through every Prince album track by track, and they invited me to be in one or two. Like I think the next one they're doing is Love Sexy, so of course I'm going to be doing that one. So because I love me some Love Sexy. So yeah, so go listen to them. Again, it's in the collaborations playlist. Just go check that out on a channel. I think that you guys will enjoy that. But anyway, but it's not necessarily my favorite of the albums of Prince's. So again, if we get a Parade one, I'll be happy for y'all. And then I'll be okay with it. Matya just said Black Album re-release. Prince did a re-release of that already in 1994, and Prince did not want that out. So I think that if they did do a Black Album re-release, that whole thing that I said earlier about wanting to do things the way Prince would do them, that seems like that would be one of the things on its face that he would not have done. So that's just my opinion, of course. But I think that they're smart enough to not do a Black Album re-release. Go watch my review on the Black Album, though, because I actually broke that down. So go look at my review for the Black Album, because there are reasons behind it as well. Let's see. Chris Moon, I missed you in your review vids and live streams. I hope you're having or had a happy new year and staying safe during pandemic times. I am. Thank you. And my New Year's was fun. My middle kid came down to visit because he stays up in Boston, but he came down to visit, and we had a fun New Year's. And that was really, really nice of him to come and visit and have a fun time with his dad. But overall, I'm mostly low key. Like our Christmas was low key, New Year's low key. Mostly I'm making music and trying to just learn everything that I can about life. So that's me. And Cinnamon Canela, good to see you. Good to see you as well. So let's see. I like your countdowns of Prince albums. Are we going to get more of those? Countdowns of Prince albums? Maybe I don't know what that term is. But I'm thinking I have a few different ideas. I have like 30 or 40 different ideas that I'm going to be doing this year. And at least trying to come up with a video every week or at least every 2 weeks. But good thing is that I do have those other guest hosts that are around to help me. I have one of their videos that I'm going to be editing and putting up probably next week. So hopefully, we got it for you. I want a 90s album super deluxe. What do you think? That could be dope. Just to have just like all the 90s stuff all together, or just all of the songs that weren't released from the 90s. I think that could be cool. I think that would involve some weird stuff because half of them would be Warner Brothers and half of them would be, MPG records. I don't know. That could be interesting though. We'll have to see. What about a For You Deluxe? I think if they were to do that, they probably would lump For You and Prince together. I don't think that it would end up being its own. That's just my thought. I think that the Black Album not being available to buy is what makes the album great and have its mystique. I agree with that. I also said something similar to that in my review of the Black Album, in that when it was hard to, it kind of like built up this reputation. And then when I heard it, I was like, oh, really? That was it? I said the same thing in my my review in Sign of the Times Deluxe when I was talking about the song Wally. Because like Wally was like this song that like was coveted by hardcore Prince fam, and you had to be in the know to have the song. And then it was just like, okay, cool, everybody's got it. And even Wally Safford would be like, oh, Prince wrote a song called Wally, so that tells you something. And then I listened to the song and I'm like, it's not a song about Wally. Wally is the name of it, and it's like obviously referring to Wally, but it's not even about Wally. And that was actually the fun part about that song, is that it kind of throws you off, like because you go in with one expectation and then you end up walking away from it with a different. So it's pretty cool. Yeah. All right, guys. I think I'm going to call it there. We've been here for about an hour and 15. A little bit over, but I'm going to call it there. Honestly, I just wanted to jump on and touch base with y'all. And, I love y'all so much. And thank you for supporting the channel. Like I said, I have like 2 videos that are ready for editing that I'll probably be putting up, one of them next week and probably the next one after that. I also would be working on the reviews and stuff going forward. But I love y'all's guys so much. You guys are amazing. And I love coming in here and just having fun, chatting with you. But also, the big news about the estate finally settling, that was a big deal. So we wanted to definitely address that here because it's a huge deal for all of us, knowing that things will hopefully start settling down in terms of any controversies or any lawsuits or anything like that. So we can just get right back to business and start getting so many amazing Prince songs and music and albums and everything out. And now I think that their attention was split. They had to worry about releases, but then also worry about deals, and then also worry about taxes, and then also worry about the IRS, and then also worry about the deal, the estate, and then deal with the courts. And like this at least removes like half of what they were dealing with before. And I think that that's super important. So now they will be able to really focus on Paisley, releasing albums and just getting stuff out. I think that it's going to be dope. So anyway, don't forget to hit like, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell. If you want to support the channel more, because now we're kind of back more, you can join by hitting the join button here or go to patreon.com/princessfriend. Either of those. And in a few Probably not like this month, but probably next month, we're going to start getting some exclusive stuff if you are either a YouTube member or a member of the Patreon. So there will be more things that will be coming to those people to, obviously say a big thank you to anybody who goes that extra step forward. But otherwise, may you live to see the dawn. I love you all, and I will check y'all in the next video. Bye.